So at time of recording, I have officially caught up on Invincible. I have been watching Invincible since it has originally premiered in 2021, and now I'm going to officially bring my thoughts out since I'm caught up on seasons 1 through 4. I will keep it spoiler light as much as I possibly can, but if spoilers slip out, I apologize. But this show is fantastic. I thought, from the beginning, I liked season 1, and I would have, if I had a channel at the time, I would have put it in Fresh Media, and I'm still going to put it in Fresh Media because I like it that much. But when I saw it in season 1, I was mostly, trend hopping. I didn't really know anything about the comics. I knew that it was from Robert Kirkman, and I'm a Kirkman fan because I like The Walking Dead. But I was not really a fan of Invincible. But because I liked season 1 so much, I decided to read the comics up to the point where season 2 takes place. I never got further than where season 2 takes place. So whenever Omni-Man and Invincible are on Thraxa, that's kind of where I stopped reading at the time. And a part of that was because at the time, I kind of lost interest in Invincible because there was such a long period between season 1 and season 2 with them making it, which I think a lot of that was attributed to a lawsuit that was over a rights issue. But it took them longer to get season 2 out. And so I just kind of fell out of the loop and I stopped paying attention to it. I had other things going on. I never really caught back up on Invincible at that point, and I thought, well, if it's just like The Boys, then I don't really care, right? And this is another reason for me to hate The Boys, is because The Boys basically desensitized me to Invincible. It made me believe that, well, if there's anything that is similar or like The Boys, I don't want anything to do with it. And so I misjudged Invincible because of that, when in reality, Invincible is far superior, well better written, better characters, better storylines, better themes than The Boys. The Boys is still trash, and I wouldn't even hold it doesn't even hold a candle to Invincible. I wouldn't compare the two because Invincible is far superior storytelling wise, character wise, and between casting and acting, all the stuff. Invincible is incredible. It's an incredible show. It is a love letter to superheroes. Now, while it is bloody and while it is still an adult animation, I still think it carries the heart of what makes superhero stories special. The ideas of trauma from the fights that superheroes have, the idea of protecting ones you love, the secret identities, the world building is fucking phenomenal in this show. If you're a fan of Invincible, you don't need me to tell you how great the world building is. The parodies of the characters that are like homages to other characters are also very creative. And while I'm not a huge fan of the bad Superman trope, I like Omni-Man more than I like Homelander, but at the same time, I was so over the bad Superman trope that I just had no interest at the time. But once I got caught up on seasons 2, 3, and 4, I started to get the hype for Invincible. I even liked the Adam Eve special. I don't think it was the greatest thing in the world, but it wasn't absolute dog shit like I thought it would be. And while I think season 2 is kind of weak, it was kind of a slog to get through season 2, if you ask me. Season 3 is where it picks up. Season 3 is absolutely fucking incredible. And then I watched season 4. In my opinion, recently season 4 came out and it's a step down from season 3, just a little bit of a step down. But overall, the Viltrumite War was fucking great. And I don't know how accurate it is to the comics. From what I understand, it is fairly accurate. There are some things that are shifted around and changed, but I'm not an expert. I didn't read further than the Thraxa arc, so I don't have any judgment to base on the accuracy of the comic book. However, I will say that not knowing what was going to happen made it more of an enjoyable experience, and so I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the coming of Conquest, getting to meet Thrag, the redemption of D.A. Sinclair, the redemption of Omni-Man, a character that doesn't deserve a redemption, but they were still trying to play it off because the character is very likable. And while you can disagree with the character, the charisma and the charm of the character still remains. And so the redemption arc feels like, okay, well, we can try with this character and see where it goes. But ultimately, he might have to face judgment for what he's done. The development of Mark going from, having one girlfriend and Amber, who was kind of a bitch that they race swapped from the comics, and going to Adam Eve, who was a far better girlfriend to him. seeing things like that, seeing how he goes from an optimistic superhero to a sort of nihilistic and cautious, superhero, one who doesn't take as many risks because he knows that whenever he shows mercy on a really bad villain, his family is at risk because that villain will return if he doesn't end them permanently. And so this show is unlike The Boys. This show actually takes a more realistic approach to superheroes. The Boys is a nihilistic butt plug for black pilling assholes and atheists that don't really like the superhero genre, but love to dismantle it, deconstruct it, and throw it under the bus. Invincible deconstructs the superhero genre in a very constructive way, and I say that kind of ironically, but it is a constructive way that they analyze the superhero genre and apply it, because we don't always see the trauma of a Viltrumite war, of a superhero war on characters. We don't always see that. Sometimes we do, but we don't always emphasize it whenever it comes to Marvel or DC. This show amplifies those ideas. It makes the characters cautious. It makes them wary about the future. It's not like you can just throw a Viltrumite in prison and then, say, job well done. No, these guys are stronger than ever and they can break out. And so, and once they break out, they want revenge and they'll come after your family. It's one of those things where the plot has stakes. There's consequences. There's actual tangible plot moving forward and characters who are changed over time. It's so well done that I had a stupid grin on my face watching season 3 and season 4, where the moments of optimism where Debbie, Mark's mother, was, encouraging him to go out and save the world and just come home safe and sound, do what you got to do, but come home. She wasn't nagging him. She wasn't like saying, oh, you've given your life too much, you need to take a break. No, she was super supportive of him. And so seeing family members, girlfriends, moms, dads, stepdads, whoever, that are side characters for our main hero, supporting that hero as he goes out and saves people, saves the world, saves kids, fights bad guys. It's super refreshing in today's world where all your superhero movies, or at least most of them, don't have people getting saved, don't have bad guys being fought. It's always a sympathetic villain who was the victim of some social justice propaganda bullshit. And so, since Hollywood doesn't know how to write heroes, it's refreshing whenever something like Invincible comes out, because we actually have a superhero, someone who is a hero doing heroic things while still maintaining a sense of humanity, still finding regret, still finding love with somebody, still trying to understand the trauma of, the battles that he has, almost losing the ones that he loves. And so this show is fucking great. I'm not going to go into spoilers, I don't think, but if you know, you know. Follows the story of Mark Grayson, who is the alter ego of Invincible, and his father is Omni-Man, who is at the season 1 the leader of the Guardians of the Globe. And so I won't spoil it more than that if you haven't seen Invincible. But those who have seen Invincible, I don't need to spoil anything to y'all. Y'all get what I'm saying. But this is why I love the show so much. I am a Kirkman fan. And whenever people compare The Boys and Invincible, you know what Garth Ennis did whenever Marvel hired him? He picked up the Punisher and he went out and he did Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe. Because Garth Ennis, who wrote The Boys, hates cape superheroes. He literally wrote a murder fantasy comic book about killing superheroes. So whenever he gets the Punisher, what does he do? He kills cape superheroes with the Punisher, of all people. What does Robert Kirkman do with Marvel characters? He goes after Spider-Man. He does Marvel Zombies. He does things that are within his wheelhouse, but doesn't subvert the characters and doesn't do something spiteful against cape superheroes. In fact, I believe, while some people throw shade at Robert Kirkman for being a fraud, I have no leg to stand on to say that he is or isn't. But what I can say from his works, from his bibliography, I guess you could say, Robert Kirkman has a far more optimistic outlook than Garth Ennis does. And so I appreciate Robert Kirkman's works far more, and I enjoy them far more. Even with something as dark and twisted as The Walking Dead and the Invincible comic book series, the man still has a glimmer of hope that, when you see in both franchises, The Walking Dead and Invincible, that glimmer of hope shines through the darkness. And even through all the gruesome and dark shit that happens, the blood, the gore, the violence, there are still characters that are likable. There are still characters that are relatable. There are still characters and themes that are universal and are well understood and make these shows and comics enjoyable. Unlike The Boys, where it's just nonsense, gore porn, political allegory, and spite. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have you read the Invincible comic book series? Have you watched Invincible? And do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in another video very soon. Invincible is fresh media.